the Arctic biome.
I've always wanted to cross the Arctic Circle and stand near the top of the world. Reindeer, moose, Arctic fox, these are Arctic animals.
This is Journey into Wild Norway, the Arctic.
Norway is one of the most beautiful countries in the world.
The best part about Norway is the fjords.
It has the second longest coastline in the world. Fjords are long, narrow inlets with steep cliffs on either side, often formed by glaciers.
We're here to explore the fjords from the southern coast all the way up to the Arctic Circle.
To explore this biome, we drove 1,300 miles up the coastline of Norway, across to Sweden, and then 700 miles south through the heart of Sweden to Oslo.
That's a lot of dragging.
We flew to Oslo, which is the capital of the country. We stayed just one night in a hotel in Oslo, repacked our bags, and then left most of our things there at the hotel as we road tripped around the country.
It's our favorite travel hack. Totally.
We chose key places along the coast that we wanted to see, and we daisy-chained our way up the coastline.
Our first day was in a small town in Jæren. It's on the southwestern coast.
This is farm country.
The host was so welcoming and even gave us gifts and handwritten notes. We loved this whitewashed, cozy house.
It was the perfect introduction to Norwegian hospitality.
We started our historical exploration of Norway at an Iron Age farm.
We learned what this place was like 1,500 years ago during the Migration Age.
The farm sits above a fjord with a gorgeous view of the sea.
It's a strategic location to look out for enemies.
We are greeted by role players pretending to be the landlady and the people of the farm.
They are live-action role players that make history come to life.
People in the Migration Age wore clothes made out of lin, wool, nettle, and hemp.
We saw the long houses where the families lived together.
The women worked the land, raised the children, and took care of the farm. The wife had control of the farm. She was the keeper of the keys. Not even her husband was allowed to touch them.
The men hunted and fished and protected the community.
Over their woven clothes, they wore cloaks made of wool, leather, and fur. They had soft shoes on their feet.
They slept on animal skins, cozy. And Norway has long, cold winters. They needed to have warm fires.
We learned how they made fire 1,500 years ago.
The people believed that there were many gods, and these gods ruled over the farm and the abundance of the crops.
This was a very cool way to see what old Norway would have been like. From there, we headed up to the city, which is the oil capital of the country.
We learned about the history of the Vikings.
They were warriors, looters, and barbarians. They were also farmers and family members.
I loved Color Street. It's so beautiful. I think Norwegians are very happy.
If there was one hike I really wanted to do in Norway, it was Pulpit Rock, or Preikestolen.
This place was formed over 10,000 years ago.
It's the most iconic natural landmark in Norway.
Hiking to the top took about 2 hours through all kinds of interesting terrain.
It wasn't an easy hike, that's for sure.
It was a tough hike, but we did it.
From the top of Pulpit Rock, there's a 2,000-foot drop-off. I mean, this is crazy. This is one of the most dramatic views that any fjord in Norway has to offer.
It's a sheer drop-off, straight down into the fjord.
We crawled out on our stomachs to take a better look. Incredible.
Terrifying.
You might remember this rock from Mission Impossible Fallout, where Tom Cruise fought his enemy.
This was the most beautiful hike of my life. So far.
Debs. Insane, right?
It's
summer.
Summer. Devin's in boots, pants, jacket. She's freezing.
I have 4 layers.
I'm so glad that I got a chance to hike Pulpit Rock.
How long have you been hiking? 2 hours. That's a long time. Has it been hard?
Standing on top of the fjord was such a milestone, such an amazing opportunity with my girls.
Bergen is a dreamy city if I ever saw one. It is a place I've always wanted to visit.
Bergen is called the gateway to the fjords.
Bergen is breathtaking from every angle.
It's surrounded by 7 mountains, each with unique hiking opportunities and great city views.
Norway's fjords are on the UNESCO World Heritage List.
National Geographic says the fjords of Norway are the world's most unspoiled tourist destination.
Now that's something to see.
This city has attracted poets and artists for centuries, and I'm one of them.
The Vikings founded this city over 1,000 years ago.
Bergen is known for its artistic vibe.
It's been home to the famous classical composers Edvard Grieg and Ole Bull.
The Bryggen Wharf is one of Bergen's most famous landmarks and most likely one of the most photographed.
It's a picturesque line of houses facing the harbor.
There's this coolness factor all over Bergen. I loved it. I could totally live in Bergen.
We timed our visit to Bergen during the Bergen International Festival. This is the flagship music and theater festival of all the Nordic countries.
It's a celebration of the arts, and over 50,000 people came to participate.
Music is very important to our family. The girls keep up with their music lessons wherever we are in the world.
Being a part of this festival was so special for us. I love how they engage the kids in all kinds of fun games. There were also art activities and short films.
Even though it was cold and rainy, I learned a lot watching the local children. They sang and danced and shared their traditions.
It's often raining in Bergen, 239 days a year.
But hey, it's part of Bergen's charm.
The festival stirred up all kinds of new artistic ideas for me. I was just itching to start creating, composing, and drawing.
As I travel the world, I'm learning about different kinds of food.
It's one of my great joys to connect my kids with mentors who can teach them what they know.
My mom introduced me to Lila, who had her own cooking show on TV. She lives in Bergen and loves making classic Norwegian food. She taught me how to make a favorite Norwegian snack.
Today we're gonna make something called Pinnebrød, which means bread on a stick, which is it's a really fun thing that most families do in Norway when they go out camping and hiking.
We used flour, baking powder, and sea salt to make the base dough.
So you can just throw it in here.
We mixed it together.
And then you can have the chocolate chips, and I'll be added some thyme and oregano. Add a bit of honey.
We used honey instead of sugar for sweetness.
Extra virgin olive oil here. Then I think we just need to add water.
Next, we added water. Since we want to wrap the dough onto the stick, we want it smooth so it's easy to work with.
So now we're all done with our dough, and we can get ready for our hike. So what Norwegians usually do is they put this in actually in a plastic bag and then just put it in a backpack. And we're ready to go.
So together with Liva's family, we took the funicular up the mountain. Suddenly, we were above Bergen.
The views! Bergen is so pretty.
I was so excited to make bread on a stick. Pinnebrød.
Hiked up to a scenic lake with a fire pit all ready for us. We brought our own firewood, set up a hammock, and made a fire.
Yes, I did it.
Yeah, good.
It was a team effort.
Yeah.
That's very good.
This is what many Norwegians do on the weekends, and what a great way to enjoy nature.
The woods were full of sticks, perfect for roasting the bread.
It was a game to find the perfect sticks.
It's a very strong outdoor culture here, so
Well, you can see why. I mean,
yeah.
they're sitting on top of a mountain in the middle of beautiful nature. The fire was ready, so we got out our dough. Time to make bread on a stick.
Leva taught us how to wrap the bread dough around the stick.
We were feeling very Norwegian.
To the fire.
It took some patience.
The chocolate is starting to melt. Nice. It takes a little while before it's cooked, just like a regular bread. Look at this.
Oh, Devin, it's falling off, it's falling off. Oh, no. How do you know when it's done?
Well, you see on the outside, and it also should come easily off from the stick.
Yeah, it would look a bit like this.
Yes.
So as long as it's not too thick, this one should start getting. But then you just take a bit and taste, and then you see. And if it's not done, you keep
cooking, right?
Yeah.
It took some patience, but in a few minutes, our bread was ready.
Is it good?
It's too good.
Delicious. They've been holding out on us this whole time, guys. They never took this to America. Some Norwegians take the dough and a few logs for a fire, and when they need a break from skiing, they pull out the logs, start a fire, and have lunch right there on the side of the mountain.
This was such a special day for us, one we'll never forget.
Edvard Grieg, a Norwegian composer, spent his adult life composing music in this very house. As a composer myself, I wanted to learn more about him.
We went to visit his home, which is now a museum.
He lived in a big, beautiful house on the edge of a lake with his wife, Nina. Nina was an opera singer. She had a beautiful soprano voice.
Edvard Grieg was a short guy, smaller than me actually. In this red cottage, he composed some of his most famous pieces. The song Morning Mood is my favorite Grieg composition. I'm playing it on my violin.
Inside his house, we could see the piano and some of his personal things.
This is where a musical genius lived.
This is how we teach art and history, by taking the kids to these places and letting them know who these artists really were. For the rest of our lives, the kids will hear the music of Edvard Grieg and think about his home here in Norway.
Norway is very technologically advanced.
Because of the unique terrain, they have created the most incredible network of roads which are connected by tunnels, ferries, and bridges.
It's a seamless experience. Everything is automated.
No toll booths, no tickets to pay. They just took a picture of our license plate, and when we returned our rental car, we just got the final bill. It was so efficient.
Driving in Norway was a beautiful experience. Easy to navigate, perfectly clean, stunning.
Driving in Norway and taking the ferries between the fjords is a great way to see the coastline. It's much cheaper than taking a cruise.
My favorite was taking the car ferries. You get on, park your car, and go walk about.
We liked the break during a long drive, and we did a lot of driving. Over 40 hours of driving.
A 20-minute ferry connection costs between 10 and 12 bucks.
When you're done, you just drive off the boat and keep on going. Easy peasy.
We stayed in a lot of great houses in Norway, and each of them offered us the feeling of warmth, beautiful views, and it felt like home. The kids continue with their education wherever we are. It's approximately 80% real-life experiences and 20% traditional study.
Travel is, by far, the best teacher.
To really immerse ourselves in the Arctic biome, we wanted to camp a bit.
We wanted a taste of adventure tourism without roughing it, if you know what I mean. We don't travel with camping gear, so you have to get creative.
We definitely prefer a more glamping kind of experience.
We chose to camp in a Birdbox.
Sounds cool, right?
Birdbox is designed to get you close to nature with the comfort of a hotel room.
The idea is to isolate yourself from the world and enjoy nature.
Our bird box was on the Eikefjord.
It's an off-grid concept, which means it can be moved anywhere without leaving a footprint.
It's basically a fully insulated box with windows on 3 sides, cozy linens, a table, and a chair. That's it.
There's even an outdoor bio toilet. Wow.
We just brought a picnic for dinner and breakfast.
We read, played cards, fed the horses, and enjoyed all the views.
Here's the thing. In the summer in Norway, it's actually the midnight sun, which means the sun never actually sets.
Even in the middle of the night, it's just like dusk.
It's 11 o'clock at night.
Going to sleep in a glass box isn't the easiest thing to do.
Being in the bird box was something that I've never experienced. It was truly incredible to wake up to a view like that. One of the most popular fjords in Norway is Geriangerfjord.
It's a gorgeous one with many waterfalls. People pay big money to come on luxurious cruises to this place.
According to UNESCO, this fjord is one of the most outstanding in the world.
It seems like everywhere in Norway we saw waterfalls.
Most of the year it's snowing here. And in the summertime, all that snow melts. And what do you get? Waterfalls.
Norway is home to 10 out of 20 of the world's tallest waterfalls.
Imagine half of the world's tallest waterfalls in one country. One of the waterfalls is 800 meters. That's 2,600 feet. Wow, incredible.
For Norwegians, waterfalls are more than something just pretty to look at.
They use waterfalls to generate electricity. The waterfalls power remote areas. It's environmentally friendly.
The Atlantic Ocean stretches from the bottom of the world, Antarctica, all the way to the top of the world, the Arctic Circle. There's a symbolic road in Norway that represents that journey. It's all about where the land and the sea meet.
It's called the Atlantic Road. You might recognize it from the many, many car commercials you've seen over your life. Mercedes, Aston Martin, Porsche, Ford GT, they love this road. They film their cars on this road because of the breathtaking terrain and the masterful engineering of the road.
This 5-mile road is described as the world's most beautiful car journey. We had to take it.
When they built this road, it was a brave undertaking because they were crossing over many islands, tons of water all around. It was wild.
Not only that, but during the 5-year construction, there were 12 hurricanes that threatened the project. It cost them over the equivalent of $12 million to build.
I've always loved well thought out, beautiful design. And this is a design and engineering masterpiece.
All along the road, there are these places where you can get out and explore.
There we found fields of a special flower called cotton grass.
It's a grass that grows in this biome. It's beautiful, so soft.
We also found a seagull egg, which sadly had been taken away by a predator and left away from its family.
Here in Norway, we're seeing engineering at its finest.
Together, we're learning about new plants and animals, trying new foods, and studying a new language. This is why we travel. Truly, travel is the best teacher.
When we crossed into the Arctic Circle, we were so excited to see the reindeer.
I'm going to the Airbnb.
No.
Going to the Arctic Circle.
And suddenly, there they were, just grazing on the side of the road.
We were screaming with excitement. Never before have we seen reindeer roaming free.
Look at these reindeer. They're so cute.
The trees looked like they were straight out of a Christmas card. Lakes and fjords everywhere.
It started raining and then it was snowing in the middle of summer. We were making snow angels, building snowmen.
The Arctic Circle is an imaginary line sitting like a halo at the top of the world.
On the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the sun will never rise.
There's no sunrise and no sunset. It's dark all day long. This is called the polar night.
On the summer solstice, the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, the sun will not set.
The further north you go, the more dramatic the light differences are.
So we decided to take the girls to the Arctic Circle Center, which was right on the border of Norway and Sweden.
The center is in this unique valley that is surrounded by Arctic-looking landscape all year long. During the winter months, they say the Arctic Center is covered completely in snow. You cannot even see where the building is.
When we crossed the Arctic Circle, we were delighted. This is a milestone of our lives.
This is how we learn geography, walking these imaginary lines across the globe.
Someday I want to cross into the Antarctic Circle too. There was a theater showing a film about the Arctic Circle, a restaurant, a gift shop, and some pretty cool photo ops.
We were greeted by trolls. Norwegians love trolls.
Trolls are an important part of Nordic culture. And of course we had to try some reindeer meat and some moose. Why not, right?
Arctic Circle, baby.
Crossing into the Arctic Circle is one thing, living in it is another.
We rented a cottage across the border in Sweden, next to a forest overlooking a lake.
This home was so beautiful, so relaxing.
In classic Scandinavian style, there was a sauna, multiple fire pits, and piles of wood for keeping warm.
The untamed fire of Sweden!
Scorching flames, sky high. We roasted s'mores and cooked over the fire.
Here we are in Sweden on the back deck of our lake house, and it goes right next to this forest. What I noticed outside the kitchen window was a giant moose. We're gonna go see how close we can get to it. So let's go see.
When we saw moose, we got very quiet, just watched.
We are here in Sweden, and it is quite cold because we are in the Arctic Circle. And we just crossed the river to come to this beautiful island that we discovered. It's freezing here. And we made our cross from all the way over there. It looks so much closer on the camera, but it's actually not. All the way over there, all the way over here, through the water. To congratulate ourselves and our freezing feet, we made a fire. But don't worry, it's not gonna burn anything down because it's just rock. The whole island is just rock with one tree that is definitely not flammable.
Wait, aren't you adding to global warming by adding a fire here in the Arctic Circle? Doesn't count?
No.
I think it's warming the earth.
Dad.
And we took long hikes around the river and into the woods,
Hoping to see some reindeer and moose. I can definitely see their droppings on the ground. There's no questions asked, they are here, just maybe not at this time of day. Last night we were making dinner and my dad spotted a moose out of the kitchen window. And we were all just staring at it in awe, and then he went to go chase after it to take a better look at it, because it's just like, these beasts are just incredible mammals, and it's so fun to see what they do in their habitat.
Around us, we saw wild moose, reindeer, Arctic foxes, and eagles.
We loved watching the reindeer cross the road, walk through the woods, and calmly eat.
They are gentle creatures.
Finally, it was time to move on. We traveled south from the Arctic through Sweden all the way to Oslo.
Norway was an epic experience like none we've ever had. We can definitely recommend Norway as a top destination for educational family travel.